Welcome to Rotten Taste, where we take a look at movies under 60% on Rotten Tomatoes and tell you what we think. And today, because it's Halloween season, we are looking at the
Mm-hmm.
1985 film Once Bitten, starring Jim Carrey before In Living Color. But Soto, this movie has a 10% score on Rotten
What?
Tomatoes. It's a 10% score.
I
Um,
didn't think it was that low. When did it was? It's 10%.
It's only 10%, and you know what? It might be a
I mean, it's not
justifiable
great.
10%. No, it's not. But this is a
I would
movie.
say this is a masterpiece, but
It's far
10%.
from.
Wow,
It's far from
wow.
it, and
It's
we're
one
gonna
of the
get to
lowest
it.
ones we've
But
ever done. I think, right? It's got to be.
it's the second. Yeah, it's definitely down there. But this is one that you kind of suggested. I know we
Yep.
tried to do this last year. Unfortunately, didn't get around to it. So, first of all,
Hmm.
why did you suggest this movie for one of our Halloween
Yeah.
movies? We'll start off with you. What were your thoughts on this movie? So.
Again, like we have said so many times on these, it was on TV all the time. And so I just watched it constantly. And as a kid, I didn't think it was bad. As an adult, I do, but as a kid, it was just always on. Like Jim Carrey is a cartoon character, and he was, yeah, he plays kind of the straight guy in this one, but and he does have his
Weirdly
little
enough.
goofy moments, but it was always on TV, just like everything that we talk about. It's like a movie that was always on TV, probably because it was cheap to buy, and so you just have these like channels just repeating them over and over again. But I saw it all the time. I enjoyed it. I thought it was funny as a kid. I have some different thoughts as an adult, but did you watch this as a kid too,
So
or?
the funny thing is, when I was thinking about this, I'm like, have I seen this? Because I always remember the cover working at Blockbuster, and I remembered a couple scenes. And weirdly enough, it was not. I didn't have a lot of memories. I do feel you're right. It was on because as I watched it, some things came back to me. Like I always
Mm-hmm.
weirdly enough, remembered the ending. Out of everything,
Yes.
and I just remember the
Well, it's
end.
very impactful.
And well,
Had an
the
impact.
certain part, which we'll get to, is just more of what they did in the coffin, which will explain what happened. Again,
Let's
so
unpack
I
that.
do feel I watched this as a kid, and like you said, it was always on. I'm sure it was edited for TV,
Yeah.
because unless you saw
Oh,
this on
yeah.
HBO, because there is a lot more sexual innuendo and things going on, and I'm just like, man, I probably should not have seen this as like a 9, 10-year-old dad. Thank you again, because I know my dad probably allowed me to watch a lot of things. But
Uh-huh.
yeah, no, rewatching this as an adult, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm like, this isn't that great. Jim Carrey's the only saving point of this movie. And my
Yes.
wife even watched like the second half. She's like, oh yeah, that movie. Because she thought remembered watching it a lot earlier, and and she's like, that kind of sucked. She even forgot Jim Carrey was in it. That should tell you
Oh my
something.
God, dude. It is terrible. It's one of those movies where, literally, it's the the fact that Jim Carrey is in this movie is the only thing that makes it watchable.
Yeah, and like I said, it's before
At
In Living
all.
Color, before anything. He became famous. So that's the other
Hmm.
funny part. But yeah, so for those who don't know, there's kind of two stories going on. One, this older vampire, is getting to whatever years, and for story reasons, she needs to suck the blood of a virgin, basically, a virgin
Yes.
male, or just
Hmm.
virgin. They actually never specify. And obviously, in this, it takes place in the 80s, and everyone's having sex. So, it's
Hard to
hard to
find a version.
find. Yeah, it is. That's kind of the ongoing joke. But Jim Carrey, who, yes, he says he's 21, but I feel like he's in high school. Some of the scenes
Yeah.
don't feel college. But so he's trying to have, he wants to have sex with this girlfriend, and she's, I'm not ready, which is fine. And then he makes the
Sure.
choice, him and his friends, to go to LA. So basically, for him to solve this problem with his girlfriend, he's going to cheat on his girlfriend. And even though, weirdly enough, nothing happens, you know, she's okay with it. And I'm like, no, 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 you shouldn't be okay. Because even the
No.
thought of cheating should be like, we're fucking done. So yeah, he wanted to solve it. And so I know I'm kind of getting ahead, but yeah, so they go to LA and they go to
No,
like
that's
a
fine. Yeah.
phone bar, which
Is that what that was?
I don't know what else to call it. You just saw what a phone at another table, and you kind of dialed up their table and like, hey, I mean,
And you
obviously
could
it was
do,
meant to be a
yeah.
sleazy. It was meant to be a sleazy place. I've never seen these. Not like I was looking for them, but I'm like, were these things real or did they exist? Is this what the '80s was? This was what dating in the early '80s was like. Cause like, man,
It's like the condom store. It's like, did these things exist? I don't remember seeing a condom store when I was younger, but I saw it in a movie. I think the thing that was very striking at the very beginning, to go back to your point about just the sexually explicit nature, is that all of a sudden everybody's fucking in the parking lot. I don't remember that scene when I was younger.
well, we probably saw it
Like,
made for TV, so they probably took out. But I had to laugh
I don't
because
remember that at all.
well, I don't remember a lot of this, but there is, yes, it was over exaggerated, and yes, it was meant to be kind of funny. And then I had a question because there's one, I guess, couple where the legs were sticking straight out of the window, straight up in the air. I'm like, no, no, that's
Yeah.
not possible. With whose legs in that position? I'm like, no, I know that's for comical reasons. I'm like, no, 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 like logistics. I'm like, that ain't real. I don't know what's
You
going on in
broke it
there,
down.
but I'm like, that
You're
ain't
like,
real.
no, this is where the movie loses me. Vampires, everything
I was
else, but
okay with
this,
vampires. I was good with vampires. I was
the
great
physics
with Jim
don't
Carrey.
check out.
And yeah, there's a lot of this movie. Obviously, we've talked about with other movies, but this is a movie that definitely could not be made today. Not under these pretenses. I mean, I guess no. I mean,
No, it doesn't
no,
age
no,
well. There's
no.
a slur in here that's used in the men's bathroom,
Yeah,
or in the gym. I don't even know if that's even how high school even is closely wrote anymore. Do people? We'll have to unpack that some other time, where it's like, do people get in showers together? Because that's just strange. Um, but yeah, I was just there's a lot that's going on in this movie that is I would hate in every other movie. Um, but to circle back, Jim Carrey's the only thing that saves every scene that he's in, and he gets a little bit of Jim Carreyness kind of in there. It's, in that awful dance scene sequence and
yeah.
that whole thing.
Well, it's like
He's
the
mine. Like the
mandatory.
music's like
Yeah,
it's like narrating it. Oh, this
it
is
is.
bad.
Yeah. So basically, yeah. What the older vampire? She needs to like basically suck his blood what 3 times.
Through his
Again,
crotch. Well, not through his crotch, but
well, no,
yeah,
kind of the inner leg, but I'm like, I
yeah.
don't remember these rules. Like, I thought if you got bit once, you turned. But
Well,
they made
sure. They made their own rules. Like, you know
they
what I
made
mean?
they
It's
made
like,
their own rules, and yet
it's,
his girlfriend has this special power over him, but he's slowly turned into a vampire as well. So yeah, that dance scene, I laugh because I'm like, he's in college. He said he was in college, and he
it
said he was
doesn't feel
obviously
like
he was drinking,
college.
but that was not a college
It
dance.
didn't
That
feel
felt
like
like
college at all, dude. I thought he was in high school. I was so confused about that the whole time. And I didn't think he was turning into a vampire. I thought he was turning into a goth kid. That's basically
pretty
what I
much
thought.
that's when he was growing up in different ways. So that yeah, I mean, there's nothing
This
vampire
poor
about him
dad.
except the light, and then he hissed at the kids selling ice cream.
I
It's like,
know.
where did that even come from?
It's Jim
Like, why
Carrey.
did
It's
they
just
even
Jim
piss you
Carrey.
off? You work at an ice cream truck, they're like, hey, can I have some ice cream? He's like, sure. Then all of a sudden that's what pissed you off. But
So dumb. But he's great. He's great, and I accept it because he's like Ace Ventura. He's in this movie, and it's
yeah, but
perfect.
well, I wouldn't. He,
Well, okay, you're right. I retract that statement. I would say it's perfect, but it's Jim Carrey. I enjoy watching Jim Carrey. So when I see him on screen, I have feelings of positivity. But
enjoy, but
man,
and then at the end,
yes, we need to
we
discuss this.
we have the mandatory high school dance scene, and then
Uh
we have the
huh.
mandatory chase
High school,
scene at the end.
college.
High school,
Yep.
college, whatever. I'm still
Uh
calling
huh.
it high school,
It
but then we have
feels
the
like high
mandatory
school.
chase scene at the end. Where I
Yeah.
don't know how this house works. They're
I don't
breaking down
either.
doors left and right. Um,
Vampires coming out of every fucking crevice in that place,
yes,
man.
the
Yep.
cement stairs, everything,
Yeah.
and
They're just
the
going around
one
in
joke
circles.
the end, because he can't be a virgin, and so his girlfriend quickly has sex with him in the casket, and then it's over. She turns into a 300-year-old vampire, and she's like, I just screaming, I need a virgin, and that was it. I'm like, I don't. Well, unless you want to bring up something else at the ending, I'm just like, this movie
Well,
was
a
just
couple
not good.
things, right? I mean, A, it was like 30 seconds long. Okay, fine. Happens, right? Uh, but how do you, as the ancient vampire, and by ancient I mean 390 years old, how are
Whatever
you
age.
verifying that he has lost his virginity? Is there something in the blood? Is it a magical thing? There's a lot of these 80s movies that we grew up with, right? Where virginity was like this big thing, like, oh my God, you gotta lose your virginity. Oh my God,
Mm-hmm.
all this. Or a werewolf
It
can't
was the
take you because
80s.
you're a virgin, right? Like, your virgin blood is the only blood. How, how did she know? She just took it at face value. And she was like, oh yeah, he must have fucked
He was
in the
smoking the
coffin.
2 cigarettes. That
And
that
then,
was it.
yeah, she
That
made the
that,
joke being
that
like, yeah,
he
she made the joke
did.
being like, yeah, I guess it could have happened because actually now I think about it. And then she just gave up. But there's no like proof at all that he got laid. And in fact, I mean, I don't know.
Maybe there
Like,
was a sense. I no. I mean, this movie doesn't explain a lot. It doesn't need to explain a lot because I know I kind of joked, but man, this was a horrible movie. Like this is one of the
I don't know
worst
if
we
I'd
probably.
say
Uh,
10%, but I mean, maybe like 20% or something like that. But I think 10% is kind of harsh. I mean, Jim Carrey's got to give it some value.
he does. Well, ten
He's the
percent.
only
He
value.
gives it the 10%.
Otherwise, it would be zero, is what you're saying. It'd be worse than anything we've ever seen. It
If
would
it
be a
wasn't a
zero.
named actor, this would be like the 0%. Because it was. I mean, he did his goofy antics, like you said, the dancing. He's playing his leg like a guitar. Which, FYI, because my wife just slid me a note, and there was a line because we were debating whether he's 21 or 18. Because again, he
Uh huh.
drinks beer. He says he's that, but
Yes,
he does say a line where he's like, "I'm a teenager. I'm supposed to make stupid mistakes."
he
So
does. And he lives with his dad still.
his parents, yes, and he lives with his parents. He drinks the ham. All right, hold
That's
on.
not blood, by the way. That's not blood.
That's hamburger juice. Yes, I know that's not blood, but my question is, she's putting like the raw meat juice in a
Yeah,
glass. Who the
yeah.
fuck does that?
Why?
Well,
What are you
exactly,
saving that for?
for a bit.
For because the
The
story
story
demanded it.
he needed to drink the wrong juice.
My God. Yes, because the story demanded it. The best plot device
The demanded a
ever.
funny moment with Jim Carrey, and you know what? You're right. I
Oh,
mean, it's typical Jim Carrey. It was pre Ace Ventura, so you can see a lot of the goofiness.
yeah.
And
I mean,
it
nobody knew
was
who was Jim Carrey back then. It was new.
no one knew. No one knew.
Nah.
And
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
and yeah, his two buddies just throughout the. So hold on. All right, I got. So these two buddies are trying to get laid with him. That's
Yes.
the central part of the story. These three guys getting
Uh-huh.
laid, and none of them. So why didn't the vampire go after the two friends as well? Because they not options.
Maybe they weren't virgins, which is hard to believe, actually, now that I think about it.
Well, they go to a fucking laundromat. I'm mature, you're
To pick up
mature. Let's just
girls. Oh God.
skip, all this, and with that line, they go to a lot. Whatever. They
That's
went to
his
the sleazy
Riz.
bar. Disgusting, but you're like, okay, they know why they're there. They're to the point. But yeah, then they go to a laundromat. And then they have sex with two of the I'm assuming they did because obviously
Oh
they got the
yeah.
end with the two of the vampire ladies.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Hmm.
I, I don't know, but my question was back to laundromat. Who goes to a laundromat to pick up women?
It's because of funnies, because of the funnies.
Was it though?
They're like, it would be funny if we did this.
But
No, it wasn't. No, it was not. No, to answer your question, no,
no,
not
this
funny
movie was a
at
lot of
all.
cringe, especially in this day and age. But like I said, Jim Carrey gives it that 10%. He gives it a good try.
Gives
How'd
it
he do?
that 10%. That's the review of the year right there. It's like, you know what? He makes it 10%. Just him alone
He
makes it
makes any
10%.
movie 10% better.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, well, he's got some great ones, but he does have a factor where it will be better by 10% because I'll tell you, to get off topic, but The Mask, not a great movie. He's in it though,
Yeah.
and he made it better.
And Ace Ventura, that's under 60%. We can review that, but
Ace Ventura, first of all, is a classic.
I,
So
I'm
if
just
anybody
I'm just
wants to
going
come
by
at me and
ratings.
say that that's a bad movie, I'll fucking fight them. I'll be like, Ace Ventura is goddamn hilarious, objectively speaking. And that's all I'll say. To be continued.
Yeah, we will have the. So, all right. Anything else that you want to mention about Once Bitten
No,
before we
I
get?
think we covered it. Again, I loved this movie as a kid. It's got some nostalgia for me right now. Will I ever see this again for the rest of my life, like before I die? Maybe
Not by
once
choice.
more. I might do it once more. I certainly won't do it for another podcast. So I may only see this movie one more time in my life on accident.
You know, on accident. You'll be drunk and you'll watch this. That's the only way you're watching it. I'm sorry, so that's the only way. All right, so anyone else who has lasted this long and has actually enjoyed this movie, let us know. Let us know what possible scene, what possible reason outside of Jim Carrey could be good about this movie. Because I'll be honest, there's nothing. And I know we usually try to end on a funny quip of a movie. I don't have anything planned because everything in this movie we can't really repeat for
Oh, I
logistic
have
reasons.
something I want to end this with, and we could end it right here. I'm going to end it on a question. You ready for this?
Okay. Oh, we're gonna end it on a question.
We're going to end it on a question, okay?
All right. So yeah, leave a like, leave a comment, tell us what you thought about it, and Soto, let's end this thing. Go ahead. I give the floor
I
to
would
you.
like to know, and you can use the comments for this all you'd like. Why are you going to watch this video more than you have watched The Wizard Rotten Taste? That's the only question I have.